Hi, welcome to another episode of Webcam Sessions. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the affliction that affects most ukulele players once the bug has bitten them, and that's U.A.S, or Ukulele Acquisition Syndrome. And what this is, if you don't know, is this need that some ukulele players have, most ukulele players have, to get a bunch of ukuleles, because there's a lot of different shapes and sizes and sounds, and it kind of makes sense. You know, you need your soprano, and then your concert, and then your tenor, your low G and high G tenor, your pineapple soprano, your electric, your baritone. It just goes on and seems forever. 6-string, 8-string, you get it, right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of being able to play a variety of instruments, not necessarily own them, right? But rather be able to go from a soprano to a tenor to a banjolele to whatever else. I think when you're first starting out especially, it's really important to be able to learn how to adapt quickly. And by playing a variety of instrument types, going from a soprano to a tenor, for instance, just even if it's playing it at your local music store, can really help with your ability to learn new chords and learn new things more quickly. Because what you're doing is you're developing skills based on skills that you have, right? If I can play a G chord really well on a soprano, I move to a tenor, my finger spacing is going to be a little bit different, and it's going to be an extra challenge because I'm not used to it. And on the flip side, if you're going from a tenor to a soprano, everything feels a bit tighter. But the ability to adapt to that different length and to that different sound will really help you in the long run as a player. So in some ways, I'm being an enabler right now, right? Saying, hey, if you want to buy a bunch of ukuleles, go for it. Because as you buy them, you'll be able to learn different techniques on them and apply the same thing to multiple scale lengths, and you'll be a better player for it, right? So there's a lot of good with U.A.S in terms of the ability to adapt. And again, you don't have to buy ukuleles, just trying out maybe a friend that has a different one than yours, or going to a music store and playing them for a while. Anything to try out different lengths and sizes and all that, right? But the bigger thing I want to talk about right now is my opinion. I'll probably get some flack for this, but my opinion of multiple ukuleles versus one ukulele, right? And while I do think it's a good idea when you're first starting to get a foundation of playing these different instruments, I think that when you're trying to become very good at playing the ukulele, it's a really good idea to invest in an instrument that is better than you are. A lot of times people think that they're not good enough for an instrument, that they have to get to a certain point with their playing before they deserve it. And I want to say that I think that's baloney. I think that's not the right mindset at all. If you're serious about playing, and again, there's the whole money part, this instrument can be expensive, and so I'm not trying to tell you to buy an instrument out of your price range or anything like that. But when you're looking at buying an instrument, I think the best thing to do is invest in the nicest instrument you can comfortably afford at that time, as long as you're serious, right? So if you have $1,000 for a ukulele, but you feel like you're not good enough for a $1,000 ukulele, the truth is, the nicer the instrument that you can invest in, the more room you have to grow into it. It's just like a carpenter with tools. It's going to be a lot harder to build a house if you're just trying to nail everything in with a block of wood instead of a hammer, or trying to screw things manually with a screwdriver instead of using an electric, right? This might be a somewhat weak analogy, but it's what I got right now. And so what I really suggest is, if you have the option of getting 4 to 5, $300 ukes or $50 ukes or whatever, or the option of getting one ukulele that's worth the amount of those 5, I personally think it's more beneficial to you as a player to get that one, because the problems that you might have with it will be lesser, the tone will be better, or should be better, and it will allow you to grow into it as a musician. One of the number one things I deal with in my private lessons is when I'm working with someone who has an inexpensive ukulele and they feel like they have to get to a certain point before they can invest in a nicer one, and they don't realize that the ukulele that they're playing is one of the things that's preventing them from becoming a better player. It's kind of like if you're trying to learn how to race in cycling. Well, if you're riding a bike that the gears don't all work, the tire's a little flat, and you're having problems with, you're going to be holding yourself back within your training, not because of your inability, but the bike's inability. And similar with an instrument like this. Playing an instrument that's better than you are allows you to become better in every way. And it's like when you're working in in any group setting, you want to surround yourself with greatness, right? You want to surround yourself ideally with people or things that are better than you so that you can strive to become that level. And I think that having a really nice instrument, or however nice of an instrument you can afford, again, you don't need to be buying a $1,200 ukulele to be doing this, but rather if you have the option between three $50 ukuleles and one $150 ukulele, or three $200 ukuleles and one $600 ukulele, and just, as it goes up, I'd recommend getting the nicer instrument to set yourself up better. Now, a lot of people like having multiple instruments for different moods, right? And I think that is very cool and a good idea. They might want their soprano for this sound and their tenor for this sound, so on and so forth. But what I'm talking about more right now is just your ability as an ukulele player to grow. And I think that playing one instrument is the best way to do that, or rather having a nice instrument to grow into, right? So if you get $3,000 ukuleles, more power to you, very lucky, but it's going to help you because you'll have instruments that you can grow into. Now again, I know everybody can't be affording expensive ukuleles. I certainly can't if I weren't doing this for a living. But I think that a lot of times people think that the quantity will make up for the quality. And I personally think that the quality is more important. And so I've been cured of U.A.S. I used to have a whole bunch of ukuleles. When I first started playing, I had sopranos and tenors and concerts and a 6-string and electric and all these different things like that. And since being getting much nicer instruments, which I've been very fortunate to have been able to work with different companies, as well as doing this for a living makes the write-offs easier. But I really only play a couple ukuleles now. This one being one of them. My Morabetta and my Mayamoe ukuleles tend to be my most played, and I've got a lot that I don't play as much anymore because I don't feel like I grow as much when I play them as I do these. And each time I pick up one of these ukuleles, I feel like there's something I can't do yet. There's something that the instrument can do that I can't. And I love that feeling because it makes me strive to be as good as the instrument I'm playing. So I'm not sure how helpful this little rant is, but I've seen a lot of posts on Facebook or YouTube and things talking about it. I just want to give my opinion on the matter. And I wanted to, for all those people that are looking for a new ukulele and thinking, I'm not good enough for this instrument, I just want to say you are, because if you are serious about playing, you can't get an instrument too nice for yourself, because however nice that instrument is, that will allow you to strive to be that good. And I think that's a really important thing. Again, the awkwardness with this is always money, because life is really expensive. I've got a year-old baby right now, and God, diapers are not cheap. I was expecting them to be cheaper. But I'm talking purely within whatever your budget is and whatever your ability is. And I think that you'll notice that your advancement as a player will go much more quickly if it will be more quick if you try to get a nicer instrument. So let me know in the comments down below what you think. Do you have a ukulele collection? Do you disagree with me totally and think that having 5 ukuleles is better than one? What sort of things do you think with this? And I'll see you next week for another episode of Webcam Sessions.